I've managed to find this beautiful little lake in the heart of the East Midlands. It's a perfect place to come and fish with long pole and short line to catch. Really, I'm not sure what's in here, but anything. The weather, a little bit overcast. It's early spring, April, but the water's warming up, so the fishing should be good. Let's go to my peg and see what's in store for us today. The lake is about 4 feet deep. It's shallow in the margins for out to about 5 meters, and then it levels off, dead level all the way. So I'm going to fish where it's comfortable. Always, when you're fishing with a pole, make sure you're comfortable. Don't fish too long where it's too much of an effort to fish. I'm going to look to fish at about 11 meters, bait up in an area so it's easy to fish. The wind is coming from my back, so it's flat calm, so it really is comfortable to fish. The lake itself holds a good head of bream, skimmers, some lovely roach in here. Also, this particular lake is famous for its crucian carp. So I know there's going to be plenty of action today. I'm not sure what's going to be the best bait today, so I've brought everything with me. Not quite the kitchen sink, but the humble maggot, larva of the blue bottle, red maggots. I just always favour red as a colour. So they'll probably be my first choice on the hook. If you want to catch bigger fish, usually these are great. I've done some 4mm expander pellets. They're Vandenine expander pellets, a little bit of carp flavouring with them, Scopex into them. I've pumped them up, and these are sinking soft pellets. But if you get pestered with roach, even if they're big roach and you want other species, this is usually the best bait to put on. If it's going to be really difficult today, I've brought some pinkies with me. Double pinky is always a good change bait. So I could slip 2 of those on the hook, and maybe skimmers, I know, love these. So pinkies, great bait. The main feed will be these. It's a good handful of them there. They're 2mm carp feed pellets. They're a hard pellet. I've softened them up slightly, just added some water to them to soften them slightly, but this is a fantastic feed. Imagine very, very small pellets. Bream and skimmers in particular love these, and the crucian carp. They're a really good holding bait. So they'll be perfect. And to spark the swim off, I've mixed some ground bait. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do with this is put a few 2mm pellets in. You can't really see them because the colours are very much the same. But I've got ground bait with 2mm pellets, and I'm going to cup this in loose. It's only 4 feet deep, so to spark the swim off, to get the swim going, I'm going to cup this in loose so it just floats down gently through the water to really attract everything into the area that I want to catch the fish. So that's the main bait for today. It's always important to know the depth that you're going to fish at. I'm looking to fish just over depth, just on the bottom, looking for these slightly bigger fish. So I've attached my plummet already. Always think about where you're going to fish. Pick a marker on the far bank, just where you're going to fish to. You've got the length of your pole, and when you drop that plummet in, make sure that's dead below the pole as you drop it in. I've already roughly plumbed up, so there, you can see that the plummet just hit the bottom there, so I'm probably fishing 2 inches over depth at the moment there. Just 2 inches over depth. That's just about right. I might alter it a little bit as I'm fishing, but I'll tell you about that. So once you decide the depth you're going to fish at, where you're going to fish, then I spoke a little bit earlier about sparking my swim off with this loose ground bait, and I'll do that. That's the first job. Get a little bit of ground bait into the area, and this is something you can only do with a cup. This is why pole fishing is brilliant. You've got a big cup, I can scoop out a cupful of that feed. Look at that, that's a mixture of the ground bait and the pellets. I'll put a few maggots on top just to spice it up a bit. And out with that, and you imagine sprinkling that exactly where you're going to fish, how attractive that is to fish, to everything. I'll just whiz it out. That cup is exactly the same length as the rig I'm going to be fishing, so when I feed, I know that's exactly where my hook bait will be when I start, and I'll sprinkle that around a little bit. Lovely brown cloud dropping down through the water, not scaring anything, just attracting fish into the swim so that I can catch them. Going to start with my favourite bait, the humble maggot. Single red maggot on the hook. Just, if you squeeze that maggot and just nick it on very lightly so it still wriggles. And let's see what's in store for us. Let's see if it's sparked the swim off. Might take a little while. Usually when you're fishing it just take a little bit of time to get the fish feeding. But I know exactly where I'm fishing. Just let the bait, it's a fairly light float there, so let the bait drop slowly through the water. Oh, that was quick. Not a big fish this one, just a small fish on the drop. Just swimming into that feed. Can probably just swing this one. Beautiful little rudd. What a start. That didn't take so long. These bright orangey red tinge fins, and this receding lip at the top. The top lip recedes. They're surface feeders, so it really had chewed that maggot. Look at that. Oh dear. Ah. First fish of the day. Well, that was successful, wasn't it? Just a small fish, but still a start. Single maggot again, I think. I just love the unexpected. What am I going to catch today? There's a bite, small fish again, but that was on the bottom. It didn't really take that long, did it? With a pole, you're right over your feed and you can really see exactly what's happening. Oh, it's another rudd. Another rudd, but usually the first one took on the drop, but this one just about lifted. Oh, in beautiful condition. This one took the bait off the bottom, right on the bottom, so it's obviously followed that cloud down and gone into the feed pellets as well. Another fish. Pole cups are so important when you're feeding on a long pole. This large one here is for putting big volumes of bait in, say big balls of ground bait. You can fill it up with pellets or dry crumb, lots of different ways to use it. It screws onto the end of a cupping kit, a reinforced kit which is a bit stronger than the pole itself, but the same length as the kit you're using. It's more for initial feeding or perhaps topping up in big volumes. Another little cup is this one. It's just a small feed pot here. It clips on your pole. Ingenious thing this. It just, see those crisscrosses there? It just fits on your pole And then as you slip it on, you push it down. It's on your pole is tapered, so as you push it down, it tightens up. That can't move then. And this is for smaller volumes, but once again, it's extremely accurate. Let me demonstrate with these pellets. I've cut a small hole in the top there because it's easier to feed. The tops do pull off. I've just cut a small hole in there, and you just have to ship out really carefully. Then when you get to where you're fishing, you can just tip that over, and look how accurate that can be. You can go straight, look, into that little cup size, bump, bump, bump. Everything in a really tight area, then pull your float into it. It's perfect, but you fish with that on your pole all the time, and it's just for topping up small volumes of bait. So important for accurate feeding, the pole cup. Ooh, this feels a better fish. I just slipped. I had those two small fish on maggot. I just slipped a pellet on the hook just to see. You know, I said earlier that you can sometimes sort out the better fish. This feels like a good one. No idea what it is yet, but you can see that elastic stretching out a bit. Wow. Obviously going to be plenty of action today. Join me after the break to see what this is. Still not had a glimpse of it yet. What is it? Fighting really well. Oh, it's a bream. Yeah, they love pellets. Bream do love pellets. Oh, good fish too. Yeah. That really did fight well. Sometimes bream are a little bit sluggish, but that one really, really did scrap. And it took a pellet. The knot you use to fix the elastic to the bung is a simple one, but you need to know it. The good thing about elastic is it cuts into itself, so you don't have to worry so much about the type of knot you're doing. In fact, this one is just a normal overhand loop. You just put the elastic through that hole in the bung and then twist it around 2 fingers, hold it in place with your thumb, and then you've got to pull that connector through. Just pull it through so that you get, I think it's only just a granny knot, but because it digs into itself, it won't slip right. So just pull it fairly tight, and then if you get hold of this is the important part, get hold of the end and the 2 ends and pull them, just pull them tight, feel it grip, and then when you check it, I'll just trim that off. Because it's dug into itself, but always just pull it till it bottoms out, doesn't slip. That is the perfect knot. And then you can use the winder, the small winder on the connector there, on the bung, just to tension or untension, twist it round, slide it in position. And you've got the tool there as well to pull it in or out. If you need to tighten up, you can just pull it out, twist it round there a few more times, just to double check it. It's as easy as that. Let's try that again. It worked, the pellet, so another one on the hook. Just show you how to put these on. If you take, I like to put my hook from the flat end of the pellet there. Just try to show it to you there. And then if you tease it, just tease it with your finger, so it almost buries the hook. But if you can see, the point just comes out on the other side, so you can easily hook into the fish. But they're very soft, so much easier. When you're fishing with pellet, it's much easier to hook the fish than when you're fishing maggot. Just drop that on. The only thing you've got to watch is when you're shipping out, because the pellet is very soft, you can drag it off the hook. So a little bit steady as you ship out. Then just get to the end of, make sure the pellet's on, still on, as you drop it in. Usually a little bit slower to get the bite when you fish with pellet. Bream and the crucian carp are a little bit slower feeders, so having said that, as I dropped the float in, it started to move straight away, as if a fish had taken it on the drop. Just a matter of waiting. It's not long since the feed's gone in, so the fish have to find it. Yeah. I can see some fish swirling on the surface. Oh, you certainly love those pellets. Another goodish fish as well. Got a number 6 elastic in there, which seems about right, just to cushion the fish, to make sure that they can't break the line. Oh, that was just swell, lovely. Oh, these, I think it's another one of these bream, but they're quite hard fighting. Yeah, another lovely bream. The bream have moved in. Lovely. Perfect, just what I'm after today. Lovely, good size, but a little bit smaller than that first one, but really hard fighting. Look at that hook, just in the corner of the mouth. Terrific. Let's have a look at the rig I'm using today. A small hook, not fishing for big fish, so it's a size 20 fine wire hook. The line is 0.08 millimetre, which is £1.5 probably. So fairly fine line. I'm looking first of all to get loads of bites. So the finer line you fish on the hook, then the more bites you get. When you start losing fish, then you can step up your hook line. And then I've got a 12-inch hook length with, I've put a small shot on that hook length, a number 13, and I can move this up and down depending on how the bites are coming. And just above the hook length knot there, I've got a twisted figure of 8 knot with a number 11 shot. And then 5 inches above that, I've got another number 11 shot. And then a bulk of shots about midway. It's probably just over 4 foot deep out there, and this is sort of about 2 foot down. I've got this bulk of shot so that everything falls slowly from top to bottom. Main line is 010, which is about 2.5 pound breaking strain. The float itself, 0.15 of a gram. It's got a carbon stem and a nylon bristle, a nice, quite a thick nylon bristle, so you can really see when you're fishing with pellet, a good sized bristle, but level, almost level with the water is always better. And a balsa body. And about 14 or 15 inches above that to the connector, where I have a number 6 elastic. The elastic is just a cushion. When you're using light hook lengths, try to balance the tackle. So I've got fairly light hook length, so you want fairly light elastic. If I had big heavy elastic, the hook length would break. So balanced tackle is so important. And that would still land me a 5 pound fish. Just takes a bit longer, but for these skimmers and roach, this elastic is perfect. My top tip for the day is to make sure you get that float dotted right down so you see every little movement. Skimmers, crucians, they're very, very sensitive feeders, so you'll need to float. I can see some bubbles coming up there already. If I drop that float in, you'll see, initially you'll see the bulk will take up just as the float cocks. That's the bulk taking up. Then that second dropper, the number 11, then another number 11. And then finally, look, just as it goes right down, that's the number 13. So shotted right down. You can see every little lift or movement. And then it's just a matter of waiting for the fish to find. I know the fish are there. I can see by those bubbles that are coming up, there's fish feeding on the baited area. Just have to wait for them to find that soft pellet. But what's happened is that more and more fish have joined in now into almost a feeding frenzy. And there it goes, and I'm in there. Right on that feed. Another good fish. You could see that was going to take. See, something must take. What it is. I think it's another one of these good bream. This looks like the biggest fish of the day. But just on that light gear, just with the light tackle, float shotted right down, so you can see every movement. There you are. Another lovely big bream, probably almost 2 pounds. Perfectly lip hooked, right in the middle of the lip. I'm going to go straight out and get another one. Well, it's been non-stop today. Once those fish settled on that feed, and that's what it's all about, feeding in that tight area. Once they settled on it, then it was one after the other. Don't know what this is. Fighting well though. I think when we get it in, it'll be a great one to end the show with. Probably another one of those good bream. Lovely fish these are. really fighting this one. Just really slow and steady. Oh yeah, just seen it. Big bream. Just think about what I've been through today, about the feeding, fishing with those soft pellets on the hook, getting the fish into that tight area so that you can catch them one after the other. And there, perfect example of what we've come for today. Big bream, silverfish, these are the best.